Hey everyone, welcome to our Thursday Facebook Live. I'm Alyssa and I'm the nutritionist in here. We have had so many new faces popping into this Facebook group and I'm really excited to have you all here. And you know, you're probably starting to realize that you're not alone in this. There are so many other people who are experiencing the gas, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. And you know, there's definitely a solution to all that. And even if you're feeling like you're losing the faith and you feel like you've tried it all, I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely possible for you to take back control of your life. And so tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about survival tips for traveling with irritable bowels. And you know, the truth is that I know there's so many of you in this group that might be feeling like traveling. There's no way I could travel. I can't travel very far from my toilet, let alone traveling very far from my house. And so I get it. I have totally been there. But here's the thing. You know, I see so many people that restrict their foods, they restrict their drinks so that they can try and control their bowel movements. I see people that are scheduling their life around the toilet, and you know, I see people that have even been having to take Imodium just so that they can go out and survive the day, or any sort of crazy circumstance where your health is literally controlling your life and your schedule. And you know, it makes it really hard for you to show up for your family when your whole world is wrapped around fear of eating and obsessing over, you know, what foods might make it worse, or where the bathroom's going to be, or because you're in so much pain because you haven't pooped in 3 days. Like, this is no way to live. And even if all of this is going on and you just want to hermit and never leave your house, and maybe you've already started doing that and travel is the last thing on your mind, this Facebook Live is still going to be helpful for you. So here's what's going on. I'm really excited because tomorrow I am flying out to Montreal, Canada. And many of you are from all over the world, so you know, a little bit of background on me. You know, my dad grew up in Quebec, and it feels like home to me. I didn't grow up in Quebec, but I spent a lot of time in that area as a child, and so it brings back such great memories, and I can't wait to go back there. But there's an even specialer, is that a word? It's a word. I just made it a word. There's an even more exciting reason why I can't wait to get to Quebec. We're flying into Montreal, but my family's about an hour away from Montreal. I'm really excited to go there because my dad grew up there, and his brothers and sisters are coming together for the first time in 18 years. Hey, brother from another mother. So my aunts and uncles, and we're coming together for the first time in 18 years. So my one aunt I haven't seen in 18 years. She's flying in from Calgary. I have another aunt who lives on Vancouver Island. I haven't seen her in, I think it's been about 6 to 8 years. Can't quite remember. But I'm just so darn excited to see my family. It's been so long for some of them, and for my other aunt and uncle, I've seen more recently this year, but I just can't wait to see everyone. And so anyways, I'm flying out tomorrow. And so here's the thing. I used to be good at flying, but I'm not always the greatest at it anymore, traveling at all actually. I love traveling, but I'm not the greatest at traveling. So I realized that I get a little bit nervous, and already today my tummy's kind of grumbling and spinning because I know I'm going on a plane tomorrow and I just got unfamiliar places to go check out. And I think that maybe there might be a few other people in this group that have felt that way too. And you know, I haven't always been this way. I'm going to share a funny story. So years ago, this was probably in about 2010. Actually, it wasn't even, it was 2009, that's when it was. I was flying to Halifax. I was flying to Halifax. I was singing in an opera there for the summer. And great opera. I'll never forget it because that's also the place and the stage where I almost shit my pants. And you know, one of the places where started to realize that I had some bowel issues going on. But anyways, I was a bag of nerves getting on this plane, and I was flying with a friend from school, and she was also singing in this opera with me. And we got on the plane, and I remember I ate a muffin for breakfast, and I've never been a fan of muffins, but I just was so nervous and I knew I needed to eat something, so I ate a muffin. And I ended up throwing up that muffin on takeoff. And it was the most humiliating thing because I've never done that, but you're literally strapped in your seat and you're not allowed to get up. And I remember grabbing like the throw up bag and like in that little pouch in front of you, I grabbed it and I'm like, I'm dying in this bag. And I totally just played it off like, this isn't happening. I didn't look at anyone, and my friend beside me, we didn't say anything to each other. We just pretended it didn't, we just pretend it never happened, right? So I was so nervous, I got sick to my stomach. And ever since then, I've not been the best flyer. I've always been so nervous that that's gonna happen again. So anyways, I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow, and over the years I've traveled many times since then, but over the years I've started to implement some tools that I always bring with me. And it's not just planes that this kind of thing happens. I'm not very good at traveling in cars in the backseat either. I get car sick. So anyways, you might have experienced this where you're traveling and just being in unfamiliar places starts to screw up your poo schedule. Right? Has anyone ever traveled before and they got constipated? Give me a yes in the comments. If you've ever traveled and you find it either creates constipation or causes diarrhea, let me know in the comments, because that is a really common thing. The other thing that I find though is often people get really nervous using unfamiliar bathrooms. Even if they're in a hotel, pardon me, even if they're in a hotel, or, you know, they're staying in somewhere comfortable, the bathroom situation, because it's not familiar, starts to screw up the poop schedule. So yeah, Sandy's saying yes. So there's so many people that experience this. And so what I want to do with you today is go through specific survival tips for traveling, and whether that is jumping on a plane or in a car and traveling far away, or traveling to the grocery store, these things are going to be helpful. So let's dive in here. The first thing I want to talk to you about is what the heck you're eating. One of the number one things that goes out the window when we're traveling is the foods that we're eating. It's not just unfamiliar toilets, unfamiliar bed, which affects our sleep, unfamiliar cities or towns or whatever. Everything is unfamiliar, but we often end up eating out at restaurants, and we start eating foods that aren't really in our everyday life. And often we get our hands into dairy and gluten, which we know is not a friend of your tummy, right? So what I want to help you do is sort of navigate through some foods that you want to be focusing on, especially if you're in a flare. So this was about probably 4 or 5 years ago. My mom, sister, grandma, and we took a trip to California. It was the best time ever. We actually went to LA, and then we drove the coast to San Francisco. It was absolutely stunning. Like, you've got to do that trip. So anyways, we got to LA, and my sister, as you know, has colitis, and she was going through the worst flare. And so if that is the case for you, you know, you might feel like this is the worst thing possibly that could happen, but I want to give you specific tools so that if that's happening, you know what to do. And we actually implemented some of these tools on that trip with my sister. Sandy says, especially India, hole in the floor, I could not do it. Yes, yes, pooping in a hole in the floor. It's really interesting. I have a friend right now, a family friend who is traveling in Korea, And I didn't have too much time to look closely at these photos, but she was taking pictures of the toilets there because they're quite high tech, and I'm pretty sure they like wash your bum. Like there's a whole bunch of features. And so it's just really interesting because you can go from anywhere from a hole in the hole in the ground to like these high tech toilets, and just the whole thing is overwhelming, right? It's all overwhelming. So let's talk about some of the foods that you want to do if you're in a flare. If you're traveling, even if you're not in a flare, these are the foods that you want to focus on. So soups are always a good option, but please try and stay dairy-free on the soups. Dairy is not helping your gut. Whether you have a sensitivity to it or not, it is not agreeing with your guts, friends. So cut it out, all right? So enjoying soups, because soups are so easy to digest. They're cooked, they're blended, your body is just like ready to absorb them. So soups are great, but also broth. And often when you're traveling, what I'll even do is I'll hop into the health food stores or grocery stores, and I'll pick up a couple of key elements, key things, and we're going to talk about things you can pick up to make sure that you're able to fill in the gaps, right? Some restaurants aren't going to be able to offer you all the things that you need, so I want you to be able to go to a grocery store or a health food store and just pick up a couple of things so that you can make sure you're keeping yourself on track to either prevent a flare or get yourself out of a flare. So soups, broths, these are all great. If you're eating vegetables, always opt for cooked vegetables. Raw vegetables are going to be tough to digest, and again, if you're in a flare, these aren't going to be helpful. It doesn't mean that vegetables should never be eaten. I've heard that crazy statement before. And it doesn't mean that vegetables are bad. I've also heard that. It just means that we need to steam, roast, cook them. Just cook them. You're going to be fine, okay? Vegetables are your friend. Fruits are also great. Fruit in moderation is definitely a great thing for you to enjoy. Now, here's one of the common things that often can irritate, especially if you're in a flare: grains. So staying gluten-free is definitely going to be helpful. It needs to happen if you plan on fixing your gut, even if it's just a temporary change. But also sometimes things like rice and quinoa can even become irritating. So if you're traveling, what I like to do is stick to other sources of healthy carbs, like sweet potato, pumpkin puree, squash. These are some really great ways that you can feel satisfied and be well nourished and have great energy, but not be hurting your gut at the same time or helping to sort of ease up on the tougher to digest foods. So looking for these types of things in a restaurant can sometimes be trickier. So this is where I would typically go to a grocery store, and I would buy like a canned puree, making sure there's nothing else in it but like pure pumpkin or pure squash or pure sweet potato, okay? So these are a great way for you to get in some carbs. Can we cut the sugar? We need to like skip the desserts, all right? I want you to enjoy sweet things like honey. Maple syrup's even okay, but honey is super healing for your gut. So while you're out and about, look for desserts or treats that have honey in them instead of sugars. Probably not something you're going to find at the restaurant, but again, this is where hopping into some grocery stores can be helpful for you to get some things you need to help bridge the gap. All right. Green juice. One of my favorite things to do when I'm traveling is looking for local health food stores and like juice places. It just feels like such a treat. Might be the nutritionist nerd in me, but this is such a great thing that you can do. So green juices, avoid fruit juices. Again, I'm saying green juices are a really great way for you to get quick, easy to digest nutrients. Whether you're traveling or not, this is a really great way for you to get quick nutrients like right to the vein. It's like a shot to the vein, easy to digest. And again, we want greens specifically so that we're staying low sugar. The last thing that you can enjoy while you're traveling out and about is teas. Now, the list of teas that I've come up with for you today are teas that you would typically find in restaurants, right? There's of course lots of different herbal teas that you can enjoy to help support healing your gut, but the ones that I want you to focus on that you will be able to find are like peppermint, chamomile, lemon or ginger, or some are even lemon ginger together, but these are some great teas that you can enjoy while you're out and about. So, you know, eating is such an important way that you can either help or harm your body. And when you're traveling, although it's tempting to jump off track and indulge or enjoy, you can do that in ways that might not be so tough on the gut. And again, tapping into grocery stores or health food stores are a great way that you can do that. All right, we're going to start talking a little bit more in depth about specific supplements and things that I'm bringing with me. Now, I wanted to also show you, it's really important when you're traveling to make sure that you have food accessible to you, right? If you don't have food accessible to you and you get hungry, guess what? You're going to end up eating dairy or gluten or other inflammatory foods that are going to hurt your stomach. And then you likely end up on the toilet with diarrhea, or you might end up feeling more constipated. So making sure that you have just a couple of key things will make all the difference. So I'm going to show you the snacks that I'm packing for the plane and for our day in Montreal tomorrow before we jump over to my family's. So this first thing that I've picked up here, just get the glare out of the way, is spicy pumpkin seeds. Now, you don't have to buy the spicy ones, but I kind of have an addiction to spicy things. So spicy pumpkin seeds. Now, why pumpkin seeds? It can be any nut, but I really like pumpkin seeds. They're a little bit easier to digest than other nuts, but they're a great source of healthy fat. And the thing about fats is that they help you to feel satisfied. So if you're just munching away on sugars, things like muffins, don't do what I did. You'll end up vomiting it on the plane. That was not a good situation. That was an ugly situation that I experienced. So things like muffins, things like, you know, bagels and quick foods like that just digest into sugar in the body, and they spike your blood sugar and then you come crashing down. They really wreak havoc on the gut. So things like this are a great source of fat, which will help to sustain your blood sugar and help you to feel satisfied longer. So that's a great snack for you to enjoy. Now, the other key food group is protein. Now, because I'm traveling, I like to eat a little bit lighter. Again, because of my experience on the plane of getting sick to my stomach, I get a little bit nervous about eating foods. And so it's really important that you don't restrict your food. So I just get really nutrient-dense foods and I eat light. So I'm going to be munching on those pumpkin seeds, but I also bought this bar. Again, I'm hoping that this glare, you can see past the glare. So this is a bar by Genuine Health. This is a bar by Genuine Health. Yeah, you can see. And it's called Vegan Protein. So it's fermented vegan protein bar. So it's dairy-free, it's fermented, which is awesome because it means that it's easier to digest, okay? So this bar I've got specifically because, again, it's high in protein. There's 14 grams of protein in this bar. There's also 9 grams of fat. So again, I'm getting really good nutrition in a small bar that's going to help to sustain me longer without irritating my gut. So this is another really great thing. It doesn't have to be a bar necessarily, but getting a good dose of protein. All right, the last little salty treat that I'm bringing with me, this isn't something you have to do, but I just love this, and I find that I usually start craving salt, and so I like to make sure that I have that covered so my hands don't end up in chips. So I really love sea snacks. So these are wasabi flavor. As I said, I have a problem with spicy foods. I absolutely love them. And so these sea snacks are actually seaweed. And it is just, it literally says on there, strangely addictive. It literally is strangely addictive. These things are so good. They don't taste like seaweed. They don't taste weird like that. They're just really super salty, and these ones have that wasabi flavor. So the thing that I love about sea snacks is that these are super easy to digest, but they also pack a nutritional punch. These things are really, really great. They're a great source of minerals and vitamins that will help to keep you going. So if you're craving salt or you need a little bit of a pick-me-up or a quick snack, these are a really great go-to. So that's what I'm going to be packing snack-wise for tomorrow. The other thing that I will absolutely not leave the house without when I'm traveling are my digestive enzymes. The last time I went to Quebec, I always call it the land of poutine and stomach aches. It was tough, to say the least. I won't lie. I really struggled. My stomach was so bloated and I just didn't feel great. Now I've since done another round of gut maintenance, and so my gut's in pretty good shape right now, but I always like to continue supporting my gut. So I will be bringing my digestive enzymes here, and I'm going to be supporting myself with these if there's a larger meal that I'm going to be having, or if there's some sort of food that doesn't typically agree with me that I'm going to be eating. I'm going to support my body with a digestive enzyme, and this is just going to help my gut from it'll help avoid the bloating. It will help keep my bowels moving and feeling so much better so I can actually enjoy my trip. One other thing here, I've got a couple other things actually, but one thing that I also never travel without, there's two things: my enzyme and these guys. These other snacks, they vary, other supplements will vary, but my enzymes and these gin-gins always, always, always come with me. So these gin-gins are the bomb. I can't say enough about them. Because again, my experience with getting sick on the plane and being a terrible backseat driver, I get super car sick and nauseous. I absolutely love these gin-gins. Now they have a whole bunch of different gin-gin candies. I like the yellow package. They're double strength ginger, okay? So they're just little lozenges. This package opens up and you get these little single pack gin-gins. So I always have these on me. They're really great for when you're on the plane, if you're feeling sick, if you are, walking around, if you just need a little pick-me-up. I absolutely love these. So really, really great if your tummy's feeling off. These gin-gins are definitely where it's at. All right, I'm going to show you one other thing and general thing, and then we're going to talk specifically about bowel support. So I don't always pack this. I typically, if I'm traveling and my gut starts flaring, I'll go and find a store and I'll buy this stuff. I try to travel light. I don't pack heavy, so I don't think I'm going to be bringing this tomorrow because I'm also doing a carry-on on the plane, and then we're going to be traveling in Montreal for the day, so I don't want to carry too much. Anyway, so when I was in Quebec last time, my stomach was really acting up. I actually left lunch with the family. I was like, guys, I gotta go. I just Googled, there's a health food store about a 30-minute walk down the street. I'm gonna go there. See you in a bit, right? I need some help here. My stomach is not great. So I actually went and bought enzymes because I forgot mine at home, and I went and I bought this. So I've never seen this brand before. Again, it was in Quebec that I bought this, in a small town, but this is peppermint essential oil. And I always have this small mason jar of coconut oil in my bathroom. So I would put a layer of this coconut oil on my stomach, 1 to 2 drops of this peppermint oil, and that will really help to take the edge off of the pain. And so when we were in California with my sister and she was struggling with her colitis and that flare I was telling you about, this is exactly what we did. This with a heating pad, and she felt a lot better with this. So peppermint oil is definitely a great trick for when you're in the heat of a flare. Get this stuff on your belly. Just please make sure you put a carrier oil on first. Peppermint oil directly on the skin, it kind of tingles / burns. So don't do it directly on the skin. Okay. 2 more things that we're going to talk about pertaining to poop. So here's the thing. It wouldn't be a survival travel guide if we didn't address poop, right? The reality is that if you're experiencing diarrhea or constipation, that can be a huge factor in affecting your trip. Right? We want to make memories, and we don't want the kind of memories that are of you pooping your pants by accident, right? So what we want to do is give you a little bit of support so that we can try to regulate your bowel movements while you're on your trip so that you can enjoy yourself. So if you're experiencing constipation, I want you to check out magnesium citrate. Now this is a brand that I'm trying right now. I don't usually buy this brand. I typically like Natural Calm is the brand. It's okay. I just bought this the other day. I don't love the flavor. I prefer the Natural Calm, but I'm checking it out. So any sort of magnesium citrate to help get your bowels moving. One caveat though, this is not a long-term game. This is a temporary fix. And if you take too much of it, it will give you diarrhea. So you want to make sure that you follow the dose on here and slowly increase if things aren't moving, and this will help to get your bowels moving so that you can relieve some of the pressure. Okay, so a magnesium citrate. Now here's the thing. Let me show you what this looks like. I don't know if you can see in there. Can you see in there? If you can see what I see, it's just like one white blob. Anyways, you probably can't see that. It's white powder, okay? Comes with a little scooper. I don't know if you can see all the powder flying everywhere, but it's a white powder, okay? Do not pack this for the plane. It's gonna look like you're trying to smuggle cocaine, all right? All right. So this is one of those things that I would suggest going and finding a health food store when you get to where you're going and look for some magnesium. The thing that I love about Natural Calm, which is not this brand, but a different one, they have like travel packs. And if you can get your hands on the travel packs, then buy those because they're single serve. You get like a box that has 5 different single serve dosages individually wrapped and packaged. So you could buy something like that and travel with it, but don't travel with like an open container like this. You're gonna look like a drug addict, okay, with white powder. Don't do that, friends. So you can find these single packs. You can either pick them up before you go and pack them in your suitcase, cross your fingers, or you can pick them up when you get to where you're going, depending where you're going. So magnesium citrate, again, can be really helpful in getting your poop going. The last thing is, what about diarrhea? So if you're experiencing diarrhea, we want to hit up a grocery store, all right? Imodium is really not my favorite approach here, okay? Let's rely on some like good quality things that will help to address the root, all right? Of course we can give you laxatives and make you shit your pants. Of course we can give you Imodium and bung you up, but we really eventually need to get to the reason why this is happening. So in the meantime, let's just, you know, pause some of these things and get a little bit more healthy approach happening here. So pumpkin puree and psyllium husk powder. If you're experiencing diarrhea and you're traveling, you need to go find yourself some pumpkin puree and some psyllium husk powder. And you need to eat about a 1/4 cup of that pumpkin puree a day and add about a teaspoon of the psyllium husk into that. Mix that up. You can spice it up if you want and add cinnamon or pumpkin spice. Heck, that's fine. You can do whatever the heck you want to it. You can warm it up and make it into a pudding, or you can just get her down. But this is what's really going to help to address the diarrhea so that you can go out and enjoy your trip. So guys, that's it for all of my traveling survival tips and tools and foods and snacks and everything that I'm going to be bringing. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And you know, I just want you to remember that it's absolutely possible. Please don't lose the faith. You can absolutely regain control of your health. You can be able to go out and enjoy food with friends and family and not have to obsess over what you're eating and just enjoy and have fun again, right? This is all possible for you. We really just need to get you on a proven system, and we need to get addressing the underlying roots. In the meantime, utilize these tools, and we'll see you next week. Bye.